Now it is 7:39, 7:40. Now it's time for questions. Can you give a microphone? We invite any of you to ask questions from any of us. And please, as I mentioned earlier, please limit it to what we have spoken today, God, existence of God, and whatever that we have discussed. So Father Nilantha will do the final summary of the discussion today. Thank you.
I would like to know about, is there a connection between the soul and the astral body?
Now again, if you listen to Father Nilantha at the beginning, we use words without really knowing the difference. You see, when you say a soul and an astral body, let's ask, what is a soul? And what's the difference between an astral body? So, all that I can say is, as I mentioned in my description now, we as biological entities, we do have psychologically, scientifically, depth psychologically, we have something beyond time and space within us. We can't explain it, but it is there. So, when you say the soul and astral body, without making a distinction, you cannot even ask the question. Do you understand what I said?
No, what do you mean by astral body? What do you mean? What kind of reality is that? Astral,
It is when we meditate and all, when we...
Yeah, I know, but I want to know your interpretation of it, how you define it.
I have heard that when some people do operations, they physically they die, and they could see their operation. He is in theater, and actually he died, and he was taken to some extreme. I have heard like that, and in Buddhism also I have heard something like astral body. So I have the confusion of this soul and astral body. Is there a connection like that? So just a brief description.
What do you think? What do you think about it? You should also explore it. You must also.
Just to give an idea of, now when you look at this word astral body, some philosophers attempt to look at it as a cosmic self. Cosmic self, right? Because you cannot remove or dislocate the microcosmos from the macrocosmos, as Professor Meeman was also referring to that reality. Because it goes through and through. It's like a inversive continuation of knowledge from a bigger reality to a micro reality. And then the micro reality will lead you back to the bigger reality. There's no way that you can separate the two. So, some will try to look at, these are 2 points of departures, you might say. First of all, I see the world from within myself. But then you told, when the operation is being done, I see it from another point of view, as if from the other person's eyes, from the other self, myself, opposed to the other self. So astral body is a kind of a cosmic consciousness. But then are you going to pinpoint to an entity, as Father Patrick said just now? These are not realities that you can objectify. Where is it? Father was talking about the soul, psyche, even though it has a biological foundation. Where is it? You might point at the entire body and say the mind pervades the entire body. There's no particular place for that. So there are realities that transcend time and space. But then we know that they exist indubitably referring to Descartes, as he said, can you doubt that you're thinking? These things might be not imagination, but entities within your mind, right? But then the entities within our minds, how did they get there? You have to ask the question, were we born with that, or like innate ideas? So these are complex things, but they are undeniable, but then our attempt to capture them within concepts fails us. Conceptualizing. Conceptualizing is a dangerous thing. Why? It leads to a reductionism. You kill the mystery. You remove the aura of that, The mystery of it is gone. Maybe that's what, with all due respect to science, science tries to reveal the mystery or unravel the mystery. What do you mean by that? It's no more mysterious. We can see it, we can calculate it, we can touch it. It's no more sacred. We can handle it. Not everything in the universe is like that. Right? How far can I reach, as Professor Mieman said, curiosity? To that level, it's infinite. That's why some philosophers realized, obviously Western philosophy started off from outside, whereas the Eastern philosophers started from the self, the inside. That's why East started with the microcosmos and West started with the macrocosmos. The same expedition. And I think both will meet one day.
Could I add something to your confusion? Now, when you have such, it's a legitimate question. When you have such struggles, right, you cannot find also a very clear-cut answer. The way to go about it is, you have to struggle with the question, right? Instead of settling for a kind of an easy way out, you struggle with both poles of that, the soul aspect and also astral body aspect. So as a result of your intellectual struggle, you will come up with another perspective, which is neither here nor there. You will begin to see it from another perspective. You see, in life there are certain questions we do not have ready-made answers. If we have, they are very shallow, right? If you could come up with a black and white answer for certain things like soul, life after death, etc., such answers could be very shallow. You have to struggle with the question. And then those questions will give you some perspective and some maturity. That is why I said the questions are more important in life than the answers. That is why actually computers are absolutely useless, actually, because they cannot ask questions. Only humans could. I think that capacity we have received from our Creator. Our capacity to ask questions and struggle with them. So you struggle with that and you will come up with a better perspective about that thing, instead of saying no or yes.
This is a thought and I would like to hear comments. It is existence and mystery is non-existence. Maybe it's not as I thought it is, but it is existence, and if mystery is not existence, how does, for me it's like you are moving from the existence to the non-existence of the mystery. And, okay, and of course the mind and the body, because is it different? It is not different. And how do we perceive existence? So it is a mystery, and how do we perceive existence? You've said that it's our senses, we perceive by our senses, we perceive by education, what we've learned, and well, these are the thoughts that came up after this discussion. So,
just to ask another question, just a clarification. Why do you say the mystery is non-existent?
Because it's not there. If it's a mystery, it's not there.
I have a different opinion, right? Mysterium. Professor Beeman might. I mean, I'm referring to the field of Professor Beeman. Fundamental sacramental theology has the beautiful word mysterium, right? Which is actually not non-existence. It's something that is covered. It's not yet revealed.
Fine, but it's not there.
It is there, but I have not experienced it yet.
Okay, that's fine. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So how do you, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have it is, and then you have not it is.
Yeah,
and then
now, just let me distinguish between this existence and non-existence. With the non-existence, whether we are able to talk about non-existence as a positive reality is an epistemological impossibility. Right? That means to talk about something that is not there in positive terms is something impossible, because you have to use concepts that are already there. You have to use the concepts that are already there to talk about something that is not there.
Right.
So, yeah.
And then we discover the mystery.
No,
No,
I mean,
it's not to argue.
No,
it's
yeah,
just
I know.
that these thoughts came to mind.
No,
because
what I feel is actually I think Professor Beeman was referring to the complex. No, it was maybe he can explain.
Can I stand up for a while? Huh? Yeah, I can breathe very well. Yes. By the way, are you a philosopher or? No.
Just a curious person.
Ah, right. Okay. Very good. Now, the word mystery we use in this technical sense. Simply, mystery means something visible and at the same time invisible. Meaning to say, you could understand some of it, but not the totality. You have to keep understanding and understanding and understanding until the day you die. 1,500 years from now, that means. And also you could never say the final word about it. You could say, now I understand the whole of it. Then it's no longer a mystery, right? Endless understanding, mystery means, technically. Like this universe, right? This is a mysterious place. Even Einstein says, ultimately, what is the most important thing? He says, sense of mystery. Life is absolutely impossible without a sense of mystery.
Yes, and then where is God in the mystery?
The God is a mystery himself also. I am also a mystery. God, it doesn't mean we cannot understand anything about God. We understand a precious little about God, right? As revealed by Jesus Christ, a little, but not the totality. We could understand also bit more, with the help of the mystery itself. You see, the other thing is, in order to understand the mystery, the grand mystery, you need also his help or her help. Not only that, we could understand the mystery only in proportion to our spiritual growth, spiritual maturity. Like for an example, when you were 10 years old, right? That means 3 years ago, you understood God, right? You had an understanding. It was all right for that at age. When you reach 20, you have a deep understanding, better. When you reach 30, right? That means 25 years from now, you will going to have a better understanding, etc. As you grow older, your understanding of the mystery should also undergo growth, purification and refinement. Sometimes we need to correct. We were not wrong totally, but we realize, no, I got it wrong. I need to deepen it. I need to purify my understanding. I need to refine my understanding, etc. That process will never end. If it ends, you will lose your zest for life, enthusiasm for life. That's why, had God created the universe with limited intelligibility, you see, life becomes very boring. Nothing to strive for, nothing to struggle, no curiosity. So universe has this infinite intelligibility. That meaning to say, endless understand. You have to understand and then deepen and correct, purify, etc. So there is no contradiction, if this is really the point, contradiction between mystery and existence. Existence flows from the mystery. Yeah, existence is sustained by the mystery. Am I making sense? Yeah.
This was a discussion at Notre Dame University in the States. This is about 20 years ago. We had a discussion like this, and one question was asked. What is the soul like? What is the soul like? You claim to have a soul, but what is its shape and size? You have a heart, you know how it is, what it is. You have feet, you know it. You have hands, you know it. Your eyes, you know. But you believe in a soul. And then you think when you die, your soul will go to heaven or purgatory, wherever it is. Now what is this soul? We can never know what it is unless we die. You have to die to know what your soul is. That experience you can never have while you are alive. There are many things in life that we'll never understand, because our mind is not the mind of God. God's mind is almighty. Our mind, our intelligence, our wisdom is limited. So sometimes we try to break our heads, knock our heads around, but we'll never find the answer. What has happened to some of these philosophers, psychologists, scientists, all these people is always searching for truth, but never coming to the end of it. The truth is far and beyond us. We are only here for a limited time. We will never ever know the entirety of what we are about. Thank you.
I was just thinking of the psyche that we were talking about. Is my psyche or my soul detached from everybody else? Or is it a part of the whole of cosmic creation? And if it is connected to the whole, are my thoughts having the ability to touch every human heart and everything that God has made?
The answer is, as far as step psychology explains it, yes. It refers to what you call consciousness. We cannot explain exactly what it means to be conscious. Okay? Now, I am conscious of myself right now. I know I am seated, I know I am speaking, I know I am here in this hall, I know a lot of things about myself right now. But as I am conscious, I am also unconscious. Now, the way I am seated, the way I do my gestures, why am I doing this now? Why am I keeping my hands like this? And why I write in a certain way, not like what Father's handwriting will never be my handwriting. Why do I write in this way? I'm unconscious. So my consciousness is also flowing from unconsciousness. You cannot separate the two. Therefore, consciousness is something that is very deeply connected to unconsciousness. Now, for example, tonight I will fall asleep. If tomorrow I wake up and I forget that I am Julian Patrick, I wake up as sacristan of St. Anthony. So I think that's what you think when you say somebody is crazy. You know, when you talk to people, there are people who will say, I have met a person who claims very seriously that he is the younger brother of Princess Diana. He lives in somewhere around Dalugama area. You know, the guy is suffering from a mental disorder. He has completely lost it. So, I am conscious, but at the same time I'm unconscious. Now, when I fall asleep, I see dreams. I can never choose my dreams. Now, tonight I cannot say, you know, I'm going to sleep tonight and I will be seeing this whole thing tonight in my dream. I can never design that. It is given to me. So, therefore, my consciousness is very deeply rooted in unconsciousness. Now, I can, in a dream, see something that is happening in the city of London today. I can see it. There are people who see them. I can see, not that I can see, but for some reason, in a very mysterious way, I will see a dream about bombing in Iraq. So, my consciousness and my unconsciousness is connected with the consciousness and unconsciousness of the city of Baghdad. Another example. Now, we as human beings, we can connect with animals. There are plenty of people who have pet lovers, or they are so connected with their cats and dogs, and they respond, and you can also feel that they are connected to you consciously and unconsciously. And also there are people who can connect with trees. You know, if you study this, there are farmers who talk to their trees, and the trees bring a lot of fruits and vegetables or whatever. So there is a connection. Consciousness, consciousness which I have is connected to my unconsciousness. That unconsciousness connects me to the entire cosmos. So if I can connect with soil, you know, there are some people who can talk to soil. I mean, dry, arid land, they go and speak. I mean, these are not scientists, they are just human, normal farmers or people. They are able to speak to the land and say, I want good vegetables, and the soil brings it. Earlier on, you couldn't even plant anything. There is consciousness there. And also we can connect with the consciousness of animals, dogs and whatever. And we also can have that deep connection, a very mysterious connection with human beings. So we can connect psychologically with the entire cosmos, which is again something that we can never explain fully. That's the mystery. That is, I hope.
Could we ever come to a stage where we can determine which way society has to evolve into? Are we given that deep if I may use the word, Christocentric type of awareness to create God's kingdom here on earth by our own knowledge and our ability to do so and believing in it.
Just to, because when you were talking about this question, Teilhard Chardin came to my mind, the great Jesuit scholar and philosopher, where he, in a way, predicted, in an evolutionary point of view, that matter from very some fundamental states achieve higher levels of complexity. And in fact, matter itself is evolving into spirit. Now we are at that level, in a way to say, the fundamental biological layers of existence is now evolving into a levels of consciousness, as Chardin termed it as the noosphere, the sphere of awareness and conscious sphere. Now when we look at the World Wide Web and the satellite networkings and all these communications that are taking place, wireless communications, whether man will be able to communicate without wires, or what he envisaged was a kind of a connectivity, or exploring or unraveling the connectivity that is possible, but then we have not developed our minds to that level. We need material means to connect up still, but then will that capacity evolve, or whether we will go to that capacity where we don't need material mediation at all, but in a immaterial spirit level communication. So that's not altogether impossible, because maybe that's what some of the great sages like Lord Buddha himself, or those rishis and sages of the ancient world were able to, even in our tradition, some of the saints were able to bilocate, be present at the same time, so many places. And these are not altogether paranormal. Maybe they are still for us mysteries, but then these might be our unexplored potentialities, because we are made into the image and likeness of God. We don't know how much we are capable of, but then we are moving forward. As Chardin said, that might be our future. Maybe that is what he meant by the omega point, Christ consciousness. That is the end. I mean, somebody can ask, where we have a scientist here, whether evolution ever end. Because to which point is evolution moving? Is it directional? Some scientists will say, no, evolution is random, it has no direction. But then Chardin seems to be hinting at a direction, a destination, which he termed as the omega point, or the Christ consciousness. So that's still being debated.
Anybody else?
When it comes to the brain, this idea came to me. What about telepathy? Telepathy is something that people talk to one another without any contact. And I remember some time ago, about 15-20 years ago, I was in Israel at that time, and there was a Jewish gent who used to open padlocks with his mind. Now these are things we can't explain. We don't know where our brain would go. It all depends on the individual. So we have to wait and watch. It's not possible to come to any conclusion.
Could I add? Hello. Since you mentioned about table, something came to my mind about table. You mentioned about a table, right? Telepathy. Okay, telepathy. It's all right. Right. Now, with regard to what you mentioned, Mr. Victoria, and also with regard to what Father Father Newman, right? Father Sriyan mentioned. Now, the thing is, sometimes, we need a lot of courage to live with uncertainties. Certain things we may not be able to understand totally. What we have at best is approximations of truth. In this life, in this short life, we may not be able to grasp everything. But you need a lot of courage to live with uncertainties. That is the nature of a person of faith, I think. And also there are certain things revealed by God, right? You owe them, you make them your own in good faith. You see this massive, in the modern time, this massive lust for certitude. Certainties is not a very healthy thing at times. Yeah. We may not be able to make sense out of everything, but we know something, and tomorrow maybe that something would become bigger and greater and much more refined. So could we live with that at times, uncertainty, which calls for real courage? I think people of faith lived like that, Jesus Christ, you see, St. Francis of Assisi, Mother Teresa, etc. Yeah. Then you have to believe in God. Ultimately, He is in charge, right? So there is this leap of faith in it, in uncertainties. Leap of faith, yeah. That's why faith means you take risks, yeah. Like let's say you do your very best, right? You love and serve people. Whether you are really going to win heaven, right? It's an act of faith. Can you be absolutely sure? Can you be utterly, be sure that you are going to enter heaven? No, you take the risk. That way, living our lives in that manner is better, much more exciting. We can't maybe we cannot understand it yet. Towards the end of human history, we would understand why God had created this universe with this sense of mystery. Yeah, life is much more exciting, yeah, much more enchanting, much more, exotic because of that. Yeah. If we could understand everything, life can be utterly boring and dry and monotonous, right? Yeah.
Father, at the same time, you have been given a piece of paper. We would like you to write it's a kind of evaluation. Please write them before you leave the hall. Yes, Father.
Yeah. Well, I had to leave soon after, so I hope it won't be taken amiss when I run away. Now, I came as a sequel of the Deanery Fathers meeting yesterday to talk of so many very grave issues, like, see, we have so many orphanages. The priest in charge said, well, I don't have the wherewithal to run it. So we in the Colombo Deanery said, okay, we will get together and help them. Then we have the Cardinal himself has drawn our attention to this problem of the suicides, the bombers. Some justice is needed in bringing to book those in charge of all the misdemeanors. Then we have in the parishes confessions and the rest of it to see how do we help one another. And this also came as a sequel of family life. You see, I found that the families are, in a grave situation. How do we safeguard them? So what I want to say is, this is fine. See, I have no problem. All that was spoken was useful. It should come into at different stages of formation of children and so on, and it will change. You see, in 10 years, what we give to the children will be different. In the sense, some more information has come in. So that is a changing process and so on. But what I want to speak of is this urgency in the context of today, we need to sort of give this all right at a particular level. But now I would have spoken if I had a little more time. Our preaching has to change. You see, even the priests who are involved in changing, in preaching and so on. I said, no, this is not enough in the context of the human race has come to a stage where, you see, there is all kinds of understanding of what marriage is, which is so sacred. See, some people would say, well, even, see, two males can get together and that's marriage, you see. So this is in the context of all these situations, there is an urgency, you see, which we sort of have to give our attention to. I would have sort of said here lies some very useful information. I would have given, see, we have the Catholic Catechism, see, in question and answer form. What is the teaching of the church? Then there is this book called Amoris Laetitia, the love of family, love of joy of loving. See. So I would have said, well, just read a small passage every day from that. I, in fact, brought 2 books to show you. Make that a part of your acumen, you see. So that in terms of this urgency, that we cannot afford to have this, what you said, I said I have nothing against, see. All that is fine, it has to be given, it meet improvements, but in terms of this urgency, we have to sort of put ourselves into a, shall I say, see, a footing which is much faster, otherwise we will not be sort of, we will not square up to the challenges that come. So I would have even suggested for priests that there is a program, see, for about 12 days, you see. Any priest who would want to come, welcome. Everything will be looked after. See, you're traveling and all that, so what you have to get is the permissions from your parish and the bishops and so on. So that we get to understand, well, here lies the problems. And we can't afford to lose our time. We have to master ourselves. We have to, in evangelizing, some may not have all this knowledge. What you said, all this knowledge. You see, it's useful, but still they have to be evangelizers. Go and announce, you see, this announcing of this good news. So this is the point of view that I would say, in terms of the urgency, we need to evolve methods also whereby we are more aware of these issues and master ourselves in the context of giving this at different levels, but at the same time inquire into those good, but move faster.
Yeah. Thank you, Father. Thank you very much for your reflection. Anyone else who has any questions? Because now it's already 8:17. We have gone in for 2 hours almost. Anyone else who? All right, so we are going to call it a day. And there has been a suggestion from different people, in fact, on the internet, on Facebook. Some of them had requested that we have video clips and also in Sinhala language. So Father Nilantha, Professor Meemana, myself will have to do a small recording in Sinhala, to summary of this. And also we will put it on Facebook. And the Facebook name is Dharmayano, is it? Dharmayano is the Facebook which is going to have this thing on video. And also, we have to now ask you, the audience, do you feel that you have gained something from this? Right, thank you. I think the panel would be very happy. And how do we continue this? If there are any suggestions, please. How do you want us to continue this? Who? University students. Yeah, that's right. Yes. Right. Yes. That's right. Yes. That's a good idea, Father. Yes. That's well taken. Any other suggestions? Responding to that, doing it weekly is practically impossible because he is a parish priest and he's of course in retirement, but Professor Mimane is teaching everywhere and I am also a parish priest and do a lot of teaching here and there. But I think we can do it once a month. Father is willing to come because he's one of the main resource persons and you are also of course available unless you go abroad or whatever, but Professor Mimane is all over the country, so once a month. Is Friday better than Saturday or Sunday? What is Sunday is of course impossible for us. Saturday? Friday evening. All right, okay. So we can decide on the date, and can we just tentatively, because we want you to send the word around, because the best message will be you who are here. So we will also put it on the internet and WhatsApp and Facebook, Can you give us the date, Friday in the month of February, so that we can reserve him and also all of us. And maybe we can also invite a scripture scholar. Father Saman Hetiarachi also said that he is willing to come. Father, what day of February? I don't have it. 14th of February. Valentine's Day. How about the... Most of you will not come. So then... Last Friday of every month. Yes, last Friday of February will be when, Father? 28th of February. Yeah, 28th of February, which is a Friday. We'll start at 6. We'll go till about 8 o'clock. And you have been given a piece of paper, so please write whatever the topic that you suggest. Then we will read all of that and pick the more important questions that are being raised. So please feel free to write what you want to learn. And also those of you who have not signed the papers, the registration, please do write, because we will send the invitation, because this Sudati is the one who has been doing that, and he will do a WhatsApp message and send you the word. And also today it's very easy. Once you get a message, you just share it with others on Facebook or whatever. In fact, I was surprised that today we have almost 65 people here. So, which is a good, positive number. So we are encouraged, and we will continue to be on this journey. So, it's good to stay on the same topic for some time. Right. Now, Father Nilantha suggests that we would continue to take the same topic. God, creation, evolution. These are fundamental questions. So if you have anything else, you write it down, but we will take it for some time, because so that we process these things, When you say God is, existence, these are complex things, So it takes time to digest these things also. So you can continue to ask these questions, clarify, reflect on it, and so that we grow in it. Father, you want to say something?
Just to say that this entire question of the existence of God, I suggest that you take it for some time. But there are so many arguments and theories that we can just, rub our heads against. And that will give us insights to overcome some of the crises of faith. Because some of these theories are there, but then those are actually not tested, but then those are proposed as certain models for our thinking, which you can consider, and then every such model will expand and show us another hidden dimension to the mystery of God, which I feel is infinitesimal. I would love to talk about St. Thomas Aquinas' 5 ways, just to start off with, maybe next time. And Professor Meeman also can contribute, because some of those theories, even though they are very old, are still valid, and some scientists and philosophers even today, they are exploring that, trying to refute, but still unable to do that. So they are valid even to this day, even though they were proposed so many centuries ago. So those theories, even though they are at the level of theories, might help us to consider some problems of faith that we have, and then even to, just in a way to think about it. And that might help our faith, as Professor Meeman again told, that faith is a very higher level of intelligence, and in a way not to oppose it, or not to consider it as the opposite of intelligence, but rather as the fruit of intelligence. Might be something good to continue exploring and discussing. And that's why I thought this is just like scratching the surface, can dig deep.
All right, so we will close now. And once again, thanks Father Nilantha for coming all the way. Mr. Mohan, Professor Meeman came all the way from Gaul, and our Risen Lord community, Bianca and others, for recording, videoing, so that for Facebook work, advertising, marketing, the whole thing. And thank you very, very much. So we will say the final prayer. Father.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Oh Lord, we thank you for this decision, for this discussion we had today. In these discussions, we can see the nobility of the human mind, made to your own image and likeness. The limits, the human mind is in a way infinite. It reaches towards you, towards infinity. On the other hand, we see our human body is so miserable. We see in the sick, subject to so many diseases. And therefore we can see that our destiny is not in this physical world, but it is only in you. Therefore, knowledge is the expression of our search for you, our striving for you, which will be fulfilled only in heaven, and we ask you to lead us there. Through Christ our Lord, through the intercession of our Blessed Mother Mary. Amen.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you and good night, everybody. Safe home. Huh? God bless you. Let me also ask all of you to come at 6 p.m. on the 28th of February, Sri Lankan time. Huh? Good night. God bless you. I'll say it in English, huh? Single.